Hello everyone, welcome back to my 1086 series. Another important thing that I have to fix on this tractor is the starter. I believe the bushing is dry. I don't know if it just sat for a long time or what the case is, but we are going to have to pull the starter out and see if there's anything we can do for that bushing. I'm going to start it for you guys here real quick, just so you can kind of hear the noise it's making. So I don't know how well you could hear that, but it's grinding. I do need to check the power to it though, because if it doesn't have a full 12 volts to it, that can cause that as well. But we're going to go ahead and check that quick. If it isn't the case, then we're going to go ahead and pull that starter out. Got the starter out. I decided not to record that part. If any of you have ever taken a starter out of one of these tractors, you know why. I can't put that kind of language on YouTube. So the starter is out. There's really nothing wrong with it that I can see. I think I'm going to take it to a starter shop and just have them look at it. Hope it's not bad because they're real expensive to replace, but we'll see what happens. So that part is out, and I guess I'll fill you in on what I find on that. I'm hoping to get it over there here in the next couple days, but we'll just tack that on with this part of the video. Okay, so I got the starter out. It's now back in. Basically, I took it over to the electric motor guy, and there's a bushing on the back here that was dry that he had to lube up, and then we put a new solenoid on it right away because the terminals in the solenoid were getting pretty cracked, or pretty burnt up, I mean. And so we put a new solenoid on it, and then the other thing he wanted me to do was to add this relay down here. And basically what that's doing now is, previously when you turn the key, it sent 12 volts to this terminal here, and that was what kicked the solenoid in. Well, it's hard to get what you needed for voltage or for amperage on this terminal here just coming from the key. And so that, if you're not getting a full 12 volts there, that can start to burn out the contacts in this solenoid. So I added that relay, and that basically is pulling 12 volts from right here, which is where the battery cables connect, coming into that relay, and then supplying 12 volts up to the solenoid. And then the key switch goes to that relay. So rather than the solenoid on the starter, the key switch is activating this relay, which is then activating this solenoid. That's going to make this solenoid last a lot longer, and that relay is a lot easier to replace if it needs to be than the solenoid on the starter. So that's what we did to fix that problem. A word from the wise, the easiest way to get this started out of here is with a wobble extension. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a socket extension that if you don't push the socket on it all the way, it can kind of wobble. And that's really the easiest way to get to the bolts on that starter. That being said, when you're putting the starter back in, a guy's got to be careful. I tightened down one of the bolts pretty tight the first time, and then I had a tough time getting one of the other ones lined up. I thought maybe the threads were bunged up, so I pulled the whole starter back out and checked the threads. The threads were just fine, and so then the second time I just made sure that I had all the bolts started before I tightened any of them. So now we're ready to go ahead and put the floor plate back on and wrap all of this up. So that's going to be it for the starter part of it, guys. It no longer makes that horrendous noise. It just starts right up and purrs like a kitten. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comments down below. Otherwise, please leave a like, share, subscribe, and check back for more.